Hello, this is Pernilla from Divine Feminine Flow. About 2 or 3 months ago, after I had been pulled back for a long time, for several years, just doing, what was necessary, taking care of business, but there was no motivation for the longest time to actually start expressing again what I had been sharing for years, but somehow it kind of stopped. I think 4 or 5 years ago, and I couldn't do what I was doing anymore because there was so much doing in it. There was the efforting, there was the pushing it, there was the trying this and taking another course and learning how to do it and trying to do the marketing and creating programs, all the things that so many coaches and healers and trainers do. And I'm not saying it's wrong or bad at all. I think it was actually very helpful for me to learn a lot of new things, how to do it. But there was this thing behind it where there was just this pressure, this pressure to sell and to get people involved and sending out tons of emails. And I don't like getting all these emails from people. Do you? And then you had to send another email. So there was so much pressure. And I remember in one of the last calls, no, it was probably the last call, because suddenly in the middle of that, it was a group call on Zoom. It was like, I can't do that anymore. It was literally a stop. So deeply felt. I just could not do it anymore. And I finished the group call, the Zoom call, and I was just sitting with that, like, my God, that's not what I'm about. What I had been learning was great, but the way it was done was not at all what I'm actually sharing, because mine is about, living or diving into the divine feminine flow where there's ease, fulfillment, where the fulfillment of who we are is already, it's already existing there. And here I had left my flow on the side of the shore trying to make things happen. And I was not connected to the flow. And when I felt slash saw that, experienced that, it was a cold stop, like boom, I literally couldn't do it anymore. And I'm wondering if you've had any things like that where you just keep plodding along, even though you feel like, this is not right, but I don't know what else to do. And I had been doing that myself. And then suddenly it was over. It was just over. So I stopped, and it was maybe halfway through the year of that group events that I had joined, and I just couldn't. And it was terrifying in one way, and it was also so liberating. It's like, oh my God, I don't ever want to do that again. So then I thought, well, it's going to happen in a different way. If what I'm sharing is true, then it has to come from within. And so I really went deep down again. I've always been meditating a lot for many, many years since I had that big awakening back in Denmark in the 80s. So, but it was just taking it to a deeper level, letting go, letting go, letting go. Letting go of what? Well, in my case, it was the Pernilla who thought she was the doer and she had to make things happen. And there was this drive and this feeling of being separate and, I have to do it. And thank God I was stopped. And then over the years, because that was many years where I just felt I was going through this process of just letting go and dying to that separate sense of self. And some of my friends said, well, can't you just do this or can't you just do that? And I would just check in, and I knew it would still be Pernilla doing it. So it was a very interesting transition that I had to go through, where I was so clear to not do it that way anymore. I couldn't. And so it was a long process. And then maybe 3 months, 4 months ago, something started coming alive in me again. And I thought, oh, there's something here that wants to express itself. And I was just feeling that. And then it's like, no, I don't want to, because I'd also gotten in that mode of not really wanting to do much. But then it was alive in me, and I was just paying attention. So then I was checking out a few things, and I thought, maybe a podcast would be nice, because I used to have a radio show. I did a radio show online for 3 years, many years ago, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought, oh, so I was looking into podcasts, and there was nothing that kind of stood out. And then a friend of mine posted something about somebody offering a YouTube channel workshop. And I got this big yes, and that's why I'm here, of course. I already had a channel, but it hadn't been active for years and years. So I signed up and I joined. And the first week, he said, before you can expect anything really, you have to do 100 videos. You can do once a week, once a month, whatever you want, but you have to kind of get that under your belt. So I started right away. I was so excited. It felt like, oh, that would be so much fun. It's just like 10 or 15 minutes, and I could just do it anytime. And if I don't like it, I can just erase it. So I started, and some of you have been following me, and I very much appreciate that. And you've subscribed and liked and comments, and this is all wonderful. That, of course, keeps inspiring me that there is something here for somebody. And then this is the interesting thing. By really allowing this finally to find an outlet again after all these years, I started noticing what it is. It was not new, because I've been sharing most of this for years, writing about it, blogging. I wrote a book called Imagine Being Kind to Yourself. I had the radio shows. It wasn't new, but there was something that was new. It was just a different energy, more relaxed and really enjoying it. So I thought, I'm just going to try and do one a day, and no pressure on myself, because I don't do that anymore. But let me just see. And then I have been sharing, I think it's been 2 months now, and there's always something that wants to be shared. And the gift that it has been for me is that the more I share, the more I realize a deeper level of the message that I share, which is, as you probably know by now, it's the importance of self-love in order to fully embody your awakened true identity, so that you're not stuck out there leaving anything behind. You bring it all into that ocean of oneness or ocean of love. And then you start realizing that you are that already. It was just that you had thrown out a few waves or drops out there that you didn't want to let in. And then the next level of seeing what I am doing here, because I really don't know in one way, I'm just sharing when the inspiration comes out. That is that I feel I'm becoming more and more myself. I feel more authentic at a new level. And because it feels like all that stuff, about who wants to hear what I have to say, and really, and kind of part of me caring about it. So there was a little bit of like, is it okay? It just feels like it's just been dissolving. So in that process, I feel more myself, which I certainly have felt for a long time, but at a deeper level. And then in that, I'm realizing, I think the core of what I share at this point, it may change tomorrow, and it probably will, is to invite us all to be authentic. And yes, I have shared this on a lot of my videos here, but now it feels like that is the invitation. That is what is coming through me out of my mouth. The way I share things, nothing is pre-planned. I just get an impulse or an inspiration, or sometimes just a sense, I want to do a video without really knowing about what. But as I move to the computer, then it starts forming. So that feels so raw and authentic. And it feels so good. It is the point where we do not care what other people think about us. We do care if we're causing harm, of course. That's different. But generally, not care what people think about us when we are just being authentically ourselves. And that is going to be very unique to each one of us. For me, it shows up like this today, yesterday. I don't know what next week is going to bring, but if I stay with that being connected with my divine expression and be authentic to that and let that guide me and move me, you can't really argue with that. I mean, you probably could. The mind probably could, and it does and has done. But when you really know who you are, of course, as the divine, as one with your divine expression, but also the flavor of that expression and how different that is. It's like all the waves in the ocean, right? They're different. And they seem to work it out. They splash and then they fall back into oneness and they splash. And that is how it is for us, at least how I see it now. There is a sweetness, there is a confidence. Yeah, I think the word confidence is great. When I just really feel I'm myself, there is a confidence that is very different than from the mind or being confident because you have certain skills, which is, of course, a great feeling too. But there is something about really embracing your own authenticity and get to know it, and then find the courage to start feeling it and getting to know it and expressing it in places where it's safe. It's beautiful. So I think with that, I want to wish you an authentic, beautiful day where you really honor your divine expression. It's not coming from here. It cannot. This is what's been stopping us from expressing it. So it comes from a sense, a feeling, an inspiration, an impulse. And it is a felt sense thing. It has a life. It's like it's a wave that starts moving. So it's up to us to catch the wave, catch our own wave, not somebody else's, your own wave. And once you really catch it and start riding it and feel comfortable, surfing your own wave when other people are doing a totally different thing, it feels really good. And you will realize that that may have been missing in your life. It certainly did for me. So that is the invitation for today. And if it resonates, I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't yet, like, comment, I'd love to hear how that is for you. All right, my friends, have a wonderful day.